Hello, hello, hello. Happy Memorial Day. I live in a great country. I live in a great country of America. And today's Memorial Day. If you're listening to this on the day or in the near future. And it's interesting because most Americans, I believe, don't know the meaning of it or they don't celebrate it. And I am a former soldier of the United States Army. I am a veteran. Served about 5 years, served my country during the Iraqi war. And I always, it's kind of bittersweet that we get this built in holiday to our schedules to give us a break from the rat race. And you never quite see people celebrate it for what it's for. But at least on here nor there, that's all that I can influence at the moment. And for those of us that are actively serving or have served, happy Memorial Day to you as well. But I haven't done one of these in a while. This is one of my favorite parts of the platform to kind of pontificate some of the inner meanings of why I craft certain episodes, the creation process, the life experience that goes behind it. I think I should probably expand this and put this on Spotify or something. I don't know. Eventually, interview some guests and things of that nature. However, I just put out an episode last week that is doing quite well amongst the other episodes that I put out. The universe says yes when you finally say no. But the name of this podcast is going to be 50 Noes and a Yes Still Means Yes. Something I heard kind of as a tongue-in-cheek joke years ago, and it stuck with me. Because that's how I kind of see this whole universal principles, the manifestation game, the game of life that we play. We have to say no a lot. In fact, the happiest people that I know in my reality are people who have no qualms with saying no. And we think sometimes that saying no means that we're refusing life, that we're refusing happiness, that we're refusing to expand ourselves and to accept in new experiences. And, we're just turning down things left and right. That means we're miserable. When in fact, the person who says yes to everything is, odds are, the most miserable person in the equation. Because this is the calling card of the people pleaser. This is the calling card of the martyr. And no matter what your religious background is, whether you come from a Christian background, a Buddhist background, a Hindi background, Hindu background, Islam, Buddhist, I think I said Buddhist already, whatever background you're coming from, you are not here to be the martyr. And I think, especially in Western society, with the chronicles of Jesus Christ and his disciples and the crucifixion story, I believe that human beings have a fixation on a martyr. Some of the people that we honor in history, especially in recent history, has been martyrs. Me speaking as a Black American, the majority of the Black Americans that I grew up having to hear about constantly, they effectively were martyrs. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, a lot of notable African Americans. The ones that we heard about the most were the martyrs. So I think that that kind of gets implanted into a lot of people, not just my culture, not just my racial background, but also different ethnicities. I think that we have a martyr complex to where we either sacrifice ourselves for our desires or we want somebody else to. We want somebody else to do the hard work. We want somebody else to do the manifesting for us. In fact, one of the comments that I ended up responding to about a couple of days ago from that very video, somebody asked me to manifest for them. Can you please just tell me that you can do it for me? And I told this person very respectfully, with compassion, it's better if you do it yourself. I could do it for you. I won't do it for you. So anybody listening to this, don't, you know, I will help you do it. It's better that I take you by the arm and lead you down this pathway to self-awareness, this pathway to endless fulfillment. Think of it like this. You're learning to ride a bike all over again. And I'm right there holding the handlebars for you. But you're still riding the bike. You're pedaling, you're balancing, you're doing the majority of the work. And I'm just there to guide you along and release those handlebars, release the seat, however I'm guiding you, release my hands from that bike, from that bicycle, and allow you to balance yourself, allow you to propel. Everybody can probably remember their experience when they first learned how to ride a bike. And believe it or not, I ran into some people who don't know how to ride bikes, but they know how to swim. So if the bike analogy isn't resonating with you, the swimming analogy should. You always have somebody there. You have that lifeguard there. You have that teacher there that's there teaching you how to tread water, teaching you how to dive, teaching you how to survive, but not just survive in water, to thrive. And whether we're looking at the bicycle analogy, whether we're looking at the swimming analogy, look at manifestation. Look at these principles of self-concept and self-awareness and these universal principles as simply learning to ride a bike again or simply learning to swim again. When you're first thrown in that water, you're in there for survival. Fear is taking you over. You think that, rightfully so, if you don't pull this off, if you don't do this correctly, you will cease to exist. But yet we learn to swim anyway. We learn to get over that fear day in, day out, however long the process takes, whether it's months, whether it's years for some people, to get over that fear. Eventually you do. And now swimming is seen as fun, is seen as a casual activity. But we can all remember when we were terrified of it, rightfully so. But yet we learned anyway. Same with riding a bicycle, terrified of it, terrified we were going to fall off and break every bone in our body. Yet we didn't, because we had somebody guiding us there. So me teaching you how to fish, me teaching you how to ride the bike, me teaching you how to swim is far more valuable than me doing it for you. And that brings me into the extension of this episode. 50 no's and a yes still means yes. Manifestation is actually pretty sublime when you think about it. When you sit back, when you've really managed to materialize in the things that you wanted the most out of life. And of course, that goalpost is going to keep moving. You're going to want more. Desire is an endless cup. You're going to want more. And when you get those first few things to materialize in your reality, those big things, believing in it isn't a thing anymore. It just becomes about refining the process. And when you sit back and you're not looking from a state of desire, but yet a state of knowing, now you can connect the dots and you realize that the majority of the good things in life came from saying no or right after saying no. Saying no to the things that you didn't want anymore. Saying no to the person that didn't reflect your new beliefs about yourself and about life and about love and about money and about wealth and about health, about your worthiness. I remember one of the most pivotal decisions I made in my life before I met my daughter's mother was the no I had to say to somebody who really did not serve me, who really was reflecting every fear that I had, every ounce of lack of self-worth that I had, and was seemingly thriving doing so. I was about 23 years old, and I was in the military. I just returned home from my first tour of Iraq. And I remember, I met this girl and she was wonderful on the first date. We hit it off immediately. And then after that, it just turned into something real nasty. She was very nasty towards me, And these are these one instances where I didn't actually physically do anything. I was a person of integrity at that time and I didn't do anything, but it was simply a reflection of me not saying no. And we all have met at least one person in our life that we had trouble saying no to, or several people. And then it gets worse and worse and worse because some hurt people. And some people who have never really gotten their way in life or who have constantly been, abandoned and tossed to the side, their programming isn't designed to accept a yes. It's designed to accept no. So when they actually do start getting yeses from somebody, they devalue them. So this whole everyone you pushed out concept goes deep and that rabbit hole runs deep. So back to the story. I just couldn't understand. And I always was trying to get back to that first date. I was trying to always get back to that first date energy. Why can't I get her to act the way she acted then when she was really nice? I know it's in her. After about 3 or 4 months of this rigmarole, I finally just said no. I took a vacation, came back home to Atlanta. I was living in Texas at the time. And I came back and I said no. She wanted to actually go to Atlanta with me. I remember that. And I came back and I said no. A week later, I met my now ex-wife, but I met my Alana's mother and we married a year later. And telling that young woman no back then was one of the hardest things I had to do because I felt like I was the bad guy simply because I stood up for myself, simply because I said, this is not who I am. I have been playing a game and I don't like this game anymore. I've been playing a game of this is not Shaun, or better yet, I've been playing a game of this is what Shaun deserves and I don't deserve that shit. And I remember it was scary to go in and do it because I had never really said no to a woman before. And I said it and I meant it and I stood on it. And then my life immediately changed. My whole trajectory of my life changed because I'm still a father to that young lady, that daughter that we ended up having. And I still have a wonderful relationship with her mother, my ex-wife. And it's a blessing to have both of them still in my life and in a healthy way. So me saying no changed my life before I knew what the secret was. I don't think the secret was out. This is like 2004. I don't even think the secret was out, baby. So your boy was just going off of sheer mother wit, as my dad would say. Ask me about that in group coaching. So these principles have always worked even before I knew what they were. And that is part of the conviction. So back to you. That's my little story. Back to you. You got to say no. I know whoever's listening to this now, if not everybody, but at least one person, I know right now you're afraid to say no to somebody or something. And really, that no is going to be the beginning of the rest of your life. No, I am not going to accept breadcrumbs. No, I am not going to date you when I know that you're not the person I really want. No, I'm not going to steal this money. No, I'm not going to scam somebody out of money. No, I'm not going to hurt another human being just because I want to thrive. And that is really the name of the game. Everyone is you pushed out. If you are providing value to other human beings and you are treating your fellow man the best you can, your fellow woman the best you can, you're going to have a beautiful life, beautiful life. I know society makes you think that that's not going to happen, that is actually the martyr complex, but really it's not. This whole mechanism is designed for us to be one. The right hemisphere of the brain sees humanity as one. The left hemisphere, the ego, sees it as the individual. It's important that we balance that because we don't want to lean too far to the right and sacrifice ourselves, but we don't want to lean too far to the left and sacrifice others. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. So as you go forward, as you have something in your life that you may have to say no to, don't be afraid. In fact, be afraid. but do it anyway. I challenge you. Be afraid, but do it anyway. In fact, if you are terrified, the more afraid you are, the more powerful your no is going to be. You can change bloodlines. You can change generations of your family simply by saying no. You can create generations of your family simply by saying no. So take this message, put it in your back pocket, and may it serve you well when you have to say no, so the universe can say yes to you. You're neither here nor there. Thank you for your time.